That's an interesting observation. I didn't think of it. That now they're talking about the Israelis not being involved in this war with Iran and focusing on the other regional wars.
What faces Israel is they've got two refineries that basically produce diesel and aviation fuel. One's in Haifa, one's in Tel Aviv, and both of them have been damaged. So their production output's already reduced. And if Iran decides, okay, we're going to take those out, Israel's going to run out of jet fuel. You run out of jet fuel, they can have all the F-35s in the world and KC-135 tankers. There's nothing to put in them.
Yeah.
Destroy the fuel source. That's, if I was advising the Iranian general staff, I'd say that'd be my priority target. Take those out. You dramatically reduce the ability. Then the United States has to focus on these high altitude bombers. Now we'll see if Iran has upgraded its air defense system to be able to go after any of those high altitude bombers.
So it was Colonel McGregor, by the way, that mentioned to me the same thing you said, that the Smotrich comments about not involving Israel because of I think it was him early this morning. But I remember something else about Pickaxe Mountain, because that's the story here. So I'll read out the story, then I'll read out what one of my other guests said. He asked a question. I want to ask you that question. So the story is Iranian Foreign Minister Baghei said that there is no nuclear activity at the Pickaxe Mountain site, the Kul Kolang site, rejecting what he described as the U.S. obsessive focus on the location. Baghei said Iran's nuclear activities have been declared to the IAEA in accordance with the safeguard obligations, adding that U.S. claims regarding Pickaxe Mountain were nothing more than pretext for destruction and sabotage. He also criticized the IAEA Director General, asking, quote, where is the Director General of the IAEA and the candidate for the position of the Secretary General of the United Nations? Baghei added that the Iranians would continue to stand firm, blah, blah, blah. So he's saying that there's no nuclear development, no nuclear activity at Pickaxe Mountain, and this is just an excuse, a pretext by Trump to escalate the war. And one of my guests today mentioned, Alexander from the Duran mentioned. He's like,
which Alexander Mercouris or
Alex Christoforou.
Christoforou, okay.
Yeah. So he asked me a question like, by the way, Mario, have you ever thought about it? What the hell does Pickaxe Mountain have to do with anything? Everyone was focused on the Hormuz. That was the main issue. That was the issue in the agreement. Where did the Pickaxe Mountain issue come up from? I'm like, hold on a second.
Yeah.
He's right. It did come out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, Alex he's a top-notch analyst, as is his partner, brother Mercouris. Yeah. So the two. I call them the two Greek boys. They're great.
Well, I'm glad, because I think twice before mentioning the names of guests, because I know if they say something that you don't like, they're going to get a grilling. So,
no. You look at
one of my anonymous guests.
You look at Alex Christoforou, and just his with the beard and his features. And then you go back and look at ancient Greek sculptures and go, man, they carved him out of the past.
I say that to him all the time. And when I try to grow a beard, it barely grows and I get patches. Son of a gun.
Yeah. No, he's got a manly Greek beard.
And a voice. He always like, hey, Mario. He always starts an interview like this. Hey, like calm. Hey, Mario. How are you?
Yeah.
So, what do you think of that point, though? Like, Pickaxe Mountain did come out of nowhere.
Well, again, when we started at the opening, you and I were talking about this, that Trump up until today was like, oh, we gotta just open the Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz got to be open. Why? Oh, the Strait of Hormuz got to be open. Now, we don't care about the Strait of Hormuz. We want to keep them from getting a nuclear weapon. Okay, then why are you threatening ships in the Strait of Hormuz? What does that have to do with nuclear weapons? I mean, I'd like somebody to, explain the logic. There's no logic to it. You can't explain it.
What do you think the reason they brought up Pickaxe Mountain? Any thoughts on where this came from? Is that it could be used as a pretext to escalate?
They're desperately looking to come up with some reason to try to continue escalating this conflict, because they believe that if they put enough pressure through these strikes on Iran, that Iran's going to give in, and it's not. Good Lord, guys, wake up! Didn't you pay attention to the funerals ceremonies for Ali Khamenei? 45 million Iranians, and why wasn't it 60 or 70 million? Well, I bet you about 20 million of those were kids, 11 years old and not younger, that weren't going to be out in the streets at that time. So this is the United States is just it's trying to put pressure on Iran, and every effort that they do has the exact opposite effect.
The strike rate of the Iranian attacks has been insane. The attack on Kuwait, it's not like hours of attacks, it's one wave. Reports of heavy smoke rising from or near the Kuwait's Ali Al Salam airbase. That's like in every single wave we're getting hits now.
Yeah. I would presume they're going after the fuel tanks now. Blow up. At every one of those air bases, they got to fuel storage tanks, because you got to have something to put into those aircraft. Well, you blow those up, there's nothing to put into the aircraft.
Let's talk about Israel. There is the report that, similar to the reports in the last 2 days, Israel's defense establishment is on heightened alert about the possibility of direct confrontation with Iran after being informed by the US that Washington intends to intensify its military campaign in the coming days, according to Khan News. The reported plans include, for the first time during the current escalation, the use of heavy bombers and strikes against targets in Iran. Then you've got a report here, Netanyahu is still waiting from the White House for confirmation of a possible meeting with Trump next week, according to I-24 News. And then it says Bibi's trip could be cancelled if things escalate. Are we, I know we've kind of last 4 days been the same question. Is this, are we going to escalate? Is that, it's just looking,
Yes.
If you look at the prices of oil as well, it does look pretty guaranteed almost.
But it's going to
Everyone believes it's going to escalate.
Yeah, it's going to continue to escalate. Price of oil is going to get to a point that Trump's going to blink, because the American people are not going to put up with $5 gallon gas. That's where it's headed. It's already back up to $4, and now that Brent, think of this: what was Brent just 2 weeks ago? It was $70, right?
Yeah,
it's now gone up to
less than
$25.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, you're right. I was talking about that with a guest, a 25% increase in 2 weeks. Was an economic guest today. His answer was interesting, though. He said, Mario, what I think happened is the price of oil went up. He thinks Trump will tackle. Which is what you think. I forgot. Yeah. So he thinks Trump will tackle. And the markets believe Trump will tackle. And he says, I'm like, okay, but then how does that make sense? I understand that, 95 is a high price. It's what it was in the midst of the war. In late March, it was at $98, and now it's at $95, $3 off what it was in March in the midst of the war. He's like, Mario, this is a high number. But the reason and I told him it went up 25%, more than 25% in 2 weeks, 70 to 95. And his explanation is like, Mario, there's two factors for this spike in price. One is the political factors, the escalation. But number two is also it was oversold. The price was lower than it should have been. So it's actually, even if things didn't escalate, it would have gone up anyway, kind of going back up to the mean, reverting back to the mean. So the increase in price we saw right now, part of it is because of the political escalation. Part of it is just supply, the demand, the traders demanding buying up the oil again because it was oversold. So he believes that the markets still think Trump will tackle. Otherwise, we would have seen a price much higher than 95 if they did think Trump will escalate or will continue deliver on his threats. But he was surprised by the post today. He said that.
Well, and the real thing to look at is not, these are oil future contracts. These are speculative. What's the actual price of oil when a tanker pulls up to port and they're
Awesome.
hauling the oil off. My
He thinks it's
understanding
more than
is
$100. He said it's more than 100.
I think it's more. I think it's probably closer to $120. And
Yeah.
Steve Jeremy, in his conversation with Tucker Carlson, I believe, said in Singapore it was much higher than that.
Yeah. Yeah. Philip Pilkington was saying it's about $110, $115 a barrel based on his analysis and calculation. And that was on that was about a month ago. 3 weeks ago. So I'm sure it.
Yeah, if that was 3 weeks ago, guarantee you that's higher now.
Yeah. There's just trying to get more information on that strike in Kuwait. There is a smoky. If you can show that photo, Lisa, just for the audience, that's in the Iranian attack now, and the US has started its bombing of Iran. Let's see what's going to be targeted on the Israeli front. There's a report here by AP. We talked about it. Iran may be using attacks on regional bases to blind Israel. Iran's been conducting systematic strikes on radars, air defenses, and logistics hub in Jordan, Bahrain, and Kuwait, which could reduce early warning time for Israel. This is a smoke over the base in Jordan that just came out, so it shows that one of the missiles impacted. There's reports about a possible meeting between Trump and Netanyahu next week. I've seen multiple reports of that. Also, Israel is considering purchasing specialized aircraft for countering submarines amid concerns about Turkey. So that's interesting, a bit separate from the back and forth with Iran right now. And this is the escalating kind of geopolitical tensions between Turkey and Israel. Israel's defense establishment is considering acquiring the Boeing P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft as part of its efforts to strengthen its long-range maritime surveillance and anti-submarine warfare capabilities, according to the Jerusalem Post. The potential purchase is one of several options under consideration as Israel assesses future security challenges in the Eastern Mediterranean, including concerns that rhetoric from senior Turkish officials could eventually escalate into direct military confrontation with the IDF. And then you've got the Israeli diaspora affairs minister says, Amichai Chilik says, Turkish President Erdogan is a combination of Hitler and Sinwar, claiming that Israel once saved Erdogan's life, referring to an unverified claim that an Israeli doctor secretly treated the Turkish president several years ago, alongside Israel's humanitarian assistance following the 2023 Turkish earthquakes. Speaking at a closed-door conference hosted by the Jerusalem Center for Applied Policy, Chilik said Israel must, quote, prepare for war with Turkey, warning that direct military contact between Turkey and Turkish forces at sea could happen as early as tomorrow morning. He accused Ankara of pursuing imperial ambitions, supporting Hamas, and expanding its political, religious, and military influence across the region, including Syria, Lebanon, Gaza, and Jerusalem. So you've got the Israeli military buying up equipment to counter Turkish submarines, a surveillance aircraft for that, and you've got the Israeli diaspora affairs minister talking about an inevitable war between Turkey and Israel as early as tomorrow morning. So saying could happen any day. How concerning is this? Because that is playing out in what we're seeing as well in Syria and the region as well.
Yeah, that really, good strategic thinking on the part of Israel. Who does it depend on for its import of oil? Turkey. Turkey is exporting to Israel oil that comes out of Azerbaijan. And now Israel wants to get into a fight with Turkey. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Plus, it is, if it gets it and if it attacks any Turkish vessel, then Turkey can call upon Article 5 in NATO. Now, I've said before, when Turkey hits that button, NATO's going to fall asleep and say, oh, no, not our problem, which will then convince Turkey that this alliance with NATO is useless, not in its interest, and it will be shifting towards alliances in the Middle East, alliances potentially even with Iran. So, it's just, will doing this, what Israel's talking about, will it make it more secure? Absolutely not. Israel does not have the military capability to fight Turkey. Turkey is, it has a world-class military. It's really it's the second largest one in NATO outside the United States. You got to ask the Israelis, what the hell are you thinking? And the answer is they're not thinking. They're acting with emotion.